Welcome back to Weird World Variety with your host Matt and co-host Jesse. Say what's up, Jess.
What's happening?
How you doing, guys? So this is the second installment of the Weird World Variety Show, and today we have a lot to talk about, Jess. A lot. There is so much going on.
In the woods, especially.
Definitely in the woods. We're going to get into all of that. So today on the show, guys, be prepared to hear some interesting things about, we've got, what are they called? Tree structures coming up. We have, I've got news. I've got gaming news for you. We have sports this weekend. This fall season is football season. We have a lot of big games kicking off throughout the months here. We have already had some major upsets, which I will tell Jesse about coming up. We also are doing some news about Marvel. If you are a superhero fanatic, please stay tuned to the end of this episode. We're going to discuss all things Marvel. So that's it for today's show. Let's dive into our first section. Here we go. All right, so Jesse.
Yes, sir.
On this topic, do you believe in the paranormal?
Yeah, well, I'd like to. I want to see it. I want to hear about it.
This is a great topic. If you're with friends or family, you might want to ask, do they believe in the paranormal? Why or why not? I, for one, I do believe in the paranormal because there's a lot of stuff about this universe we do not know about that humanity pretends to know about. So also looping that into the paranormal could be the unexplained, like, you know, discovering different types of animals every year, discovering new things about our system. So I call that paranormal or unexplained. That's my explanation of it. So
I see weird things happen all the time.
Exactly. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. We have some weird news for you. Now, this was brought out in August of 2021. So it's not necessarily new news, but it was kind of fun news. And this is not the first time this has happened. Take in mind, this has happened many times throughout history. But we are on an interesting story today. So I'm just going to read it off to you. This is brought to you by SasquatchInvestigations.org. Now, I know many people believe different things about Sasquatch and if Bigfoot really exists, but this is a fun little article I came across and I thought we should talk about it. Sasquatch Tree Structures. This is a site. They have a bunch of pictures. Jesse, you can see them now, bringing them up on your screen.
Yes, sir.
There's a bunch of pictures of what they call Sasquatch tree structures. Whether you believe in Sasquatch or not, this is actually kind of weird. And I thought it was kind of cool, regardless of who made them or what made them. So even if you don't believe, this is kind of interesting. If you want to see these pictures for yourself, go to SasquatchInvestigations.com, and they have a whole
.org.
.org. Yes, .org. Sorry. And they have a entire article with tons of pictures of these different tree structures. Could be a prank. Don't know. But they're very interesting. The first few pictures, we have what looks like two trees crossed over each other. One looks like a slingshot with another tree passed through it. Now, I will tell you, if this is a prank, and there's, you know, if this is a prank and not something nature or an animal did, these are whole trees, Jess.
I see that.
It
does look like somebody tampered with them to me, but I mean,
could be, but these are not just something you pick up either.
No, they're big enough for it definitely require more than one person to.
Yeah, I feel like you'd have to have a squad for some. Okay, scroll down a little bit. I'm going to read a little bit here. The impressive group of tree structures came from one of our southern Colorado locations in August of 2021. There's an X at the entrance, star further up the trail. Please notice how these are put together and how they're held together to last. So they think they're kind of like TP type structures. I'm not really sure. Now, these people from this site said they have heard vocalizations, wood knocks, and footprints of said Sasquatch. I don't see any footprints. Of course, we don't have any pictures of that.
They're
So
not clear enough to see footprints.
yeah,
Like,
but we do see the tree structures, and they do have pictures of that. I think they're really neat. Whoever put them there or whatever put them there, these are pretty cool.
they're really good. Well taken too. Like somebody was using a very good camera for this. In general, I
Yeah,
think so.
like they've been there for a while, so it looks like when they said it was built to last, it looks like these tree structures don't have any intention of moving. Like, you know how like there's more. If you scroll down, there's some of these tree structures that have like 6 to 7 trees, not just 1 or 2, and they're all crossed over each other.
Like a group did it, not
Yeah.
just one thing.
Yeah.
Or nature.
And to undo them would kind of take work. Now, you could say, this could be a theory, but you could say that storms created these.
They fell over.
Yeah, they fell over. Could be a prank.
It's
They do
just
look
a prank, bro.
Especially the ones that are like X-shaped and web-like. Kind of look like they fell over, but I mean,
Yeah, but you know how
up for debate.
they could fall over, but that many and that it's just interesting. I just find it interesting
There is a heck of a lot in the sixth one down to the right.
I
That
see that.
that is a lot of trees.
It looks
So-
like some of these there's an art to them, and others do look like a bunch of trees fell over. Like I think some of them can be counted out because I think some of them can be natural.
The X ones seem to be more stray.
The TP
They look-
looking ones seem like art. They
Yeah.
they definitely seem like somebody did it on purpose for
The
sure.
Fourth one down on the left looks more like a TP with some kind of bow.
And then you have ones that are bent over like a cave. That's kind of interesting, but I think those are more natural. Like they look like a bunch of sticks fell on top of each other. Those look more natural to me. I don't know. Audience, you decide. If you want to go to sasquatchinvestigations.org and look up this article, it's about the Colorado tree structures. You decide and you tell us what you guys think. To me, they're very interesting.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by nature.
I think it's amazing. And they have dates on the pictures. Some of these are all the way back to 2015. Yeah. It's very cool. Whether an animal did it, whether, Sasquatch did it, whoever, I don't care. I think it's very cool and very interesting.
We're nerds. Sue us.
Hey, man, don't rock on my nerds. I love the paranormal and I love the unknown. So anything that we don't know about that we're still finding out, I think it's awesome. Science.
I represent science.
Oh man. All right, audience, you let us know. If you think these tree structures are real or
Actual structures.
yeah, or you have some evidence to help back up. Maybe you've been to this forest and you have some footprints and whatnot. Or if you have an audio recording, please send it to us. We don't have it this show, but next show we will have a show email. So if you would like to send in your stories and your evidence to our show email, we would love to hear from you.
I'd be happy to talk about whatever you send in.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. All right, let's get into our next thing. And I think this is all going to come out. Let's see, this episode is probably going to come out Saturday. So we have a bunch of news for you for this weekend, and including stuff coming up and happened this week. I have a bunch of stuff for you guys. So this one right here, this is pretty interesting. I saw this pop across my news feed and I was like, oh, we should talk about this. I don't know about you, Jesse, but I am an avid gamer.
I'm not as big a gamer, but I like games.
You used to be though, right?
Yeah, I kind of got burnt out on them. They just keep coming and coming, and it just gets expensive, and I'm like,
Okay, on that point, I feel like a lot of games, and I think we've talked about this before, I feel like a lot of games nowadays are recreations of stuff that we've already had.
well, who wants to pay $70 per game? That's
That's
a
true,
little,
too.
a little too much, man.
But the good news about that is you don't have to wait very long before most games, except for Nintendo, because we all know Nintendo, they like to up their prices and keep them there for 40 years.
Yeah, I do love Nintendo. That's what I started with.
But
so.
most games tend to go down after a little bit of time.
Sony and Microsoft actually do bring out more deals than Nintendo.
Yeah,
Sadly.
I love my PlayStation deals that I get.
I've had them all. I've had not every single system, but I've had a lot of them.
I've had a decent amount of systems. What did you start
If
on?
I had actually kept all the ones I had this whole time, I'd probably be rolling in the dough.
That's true.
But
That's true.
I got tired of lugging everything around, honestly. Like,
do you remember your first system?
A NES.
Really?
The original Nintendo, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. I think my first system, I'm trying to remember, because I got the Super Nintendo and the Sega around the same time. And I might have done it backwards. I might have had the PS2 first. And then
You had a PS2. How would you have the PS2 first?
Because I didn't have a gaming system. I remember having one Super Nintendo, and I think we had that at the old house. So it would have been Super Nintendo, Sega, then PlayStation 2. And that was my childhood.
I've had more Nintendo than anything. That's for sure.
I remember that I never had a Nintendo 64. So I would go to my friend's house who always had a Nintendo 64. So like they were part of the church that we were at. So I'd always have like excuses to go over to their house and we'd all play Nintendo 64 together.
Dude, I traded an MP3 player for a Nintendo 64 in like 20 games once.
Yeah, I don't think you could do that now.
No,
I don't think
now.
you could play it. I don't think you could trade an MP3 player for a PlayStation 4 or a PS5.
No, definitely not.
Here's a
you can't even trade a laptop for.
Here's a $30
like
MP3 player,
yeah,
and let me give you a $600 PS5.
That was great. He wanted the music that bad. I guess y'all music nuts.
I remember trading a lot as a kid. If we're talking about trading, I remember. Nothing was off limits as a kid as long as the parents were okay with it. Like
see, it was the opposite for me. Like I mean, growing up in foster care, I didn't get to do a whole lot.
Right.
So music was, I mean, it was pretty much out of reach until
I feel it.
I was an adult.
I feel it. Well, we've had a major piece of game news happen this week. Apparently, and I don't know how far or how deep this goes. But the major news story this week that everybody's talking about is SAG-AFTRA.
SAG-AFTRA?
I don't know. It's a organization. Members vote overwhelmingly to authorize a strike against the video game industry. I'm not sure what this is about, but we're going to dive in and see what's going on. Well, obviously, a strike, but... All right, so the SAG members have voted overwhelmingly to authorize a strike against 10 of the video game companies, the major ones. The vote was 98% in favor. A total of 34,687 members cast ballots, representing voting 27.47% of eligible voters. The Guild's last strike against the gaming companies was in 2016 to 2017, lasted 183 days.
Jeez.
The Guild, meanwhile, has been on strike against the film and TV industry since July 4th. So who are these guys? What's going on with this? I don't know if you know who these are. I don't know who these guys are. And maybe that's just my ignorance. Hold on. Okay, so it's time for the video game companies, quote, to stop playing games and get serious about reaching an agreement on this contract, said President Fran, I don't know how Drescher, I think his name is. The result of this vote shows our membership understands the existential nature of these negotiations and that the time is now for these companies, which are making billions of dollars and paying their CEOs lavishly, to give our performers an agreement that keeps performing in video games as a viable career. So are these like workers?
Sounds like actors to me.
Huh.
Like I mean, I know PS5 is becoming movie quality.
Okay, well let's look up. I want to look this up. Who is? We're gonna do this right now. Who is? We do things live on the show.
SAG-AFTRA? Is that what you're gonna?
Yeah. I was gonna look that up because I'm not sure who these guys are and why this is so crazy. Oh, sweet. All right, this makes more sense. Check this out. You were right. The Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. That's what that stands for. Is an American labor union representing approximately 160,000 media professionals worldwide. So in other words, a big chunk of their actor force is going on strike.
First the Marvel writer strike, and now this.
It just keeps on coming. I'm telling you, we're going to dive into why this is all happening, but like this stuff just keeps on coming in. And it goes back to what you and I were talking about people being burnt out, about people not being paid, things, people not getting what they want for their work. Yeah.
The Guild's board and negotiating committee has already voted unanimously to recommend the authorization vote, which required 75% approval of voting members to pass. Today's vote, however, doesn't necessarily mean that there will be a strike, but rather gives the national board to authority to call a strike if negotiations fail to produce an acceptable agreement.
Okay, so we're not to a strike yet, but it looks like if negotiations fail, there will be a strike. This is a little bit confusing.
The Guild and the companies will resume negotiations on Tuesday. I'm assuming that's today. And now that strike authorization has been approved, a strike could come anytime after that. After 5 rounds of bargaining, it has become abundantly clear that the video game companies aren't willing to meaningfully engage on the critical issues. Compensation undercut by inflation, unregulated use of AI, and safety, said SAG-AFTRA National Executive Director and Chief Negotiator Duncan Crabtree Ireland. I remain hopeful that we will be able to reach an agreement that meets members' needs, but our members are done being exploited, and if these corporations aren't willing to offer a fair deal, our next stop will be the picket lines.
That would be a major hit. So let's talk about it in relation to if there is a strike, because we all know video games need actors. And if they can't get their actors, they either have to do it themselves or
some kind of
CGI or
otherwise
AI it. Like, I know we're getting closer to AI, so that might work, but there's certain feelings and stuff you probably can't get through AI that you can get through humans.
No, we definitely have AI already.
Yeah, we have tons of AI, so I don't know.
Let's hope it doesn't turn into Skynet.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the real problem they're complaining about, okay? Now, I don't know how much of this is true. I'm not in the video game industry, and neither is Jesse, but they are saying between the exploitative uses of AI and lagging wages, those who work in the video games are facing many of the same issues as those who work in film and television. I can see that. That's pretty fair, said Chief Contracts Officer Ray Rodriguez. The strike authorization makes an emphatic statement that we must reach an agreement that will fairly compensate these talented performers, provide common sense, safety measures, and allow them to work with dignity. Now, the real question is, what exactly do they want? Like, what's their definition of fair wages and fair treatment? Because obviously a lot of us don't work in the video game industry, so it's probably,
I thought they got paid well, dude. Like,
yeah,
so it is odd to see them.
Yeah, how well is well
struggling here.
Because a lot of us who work normal jobs, we do not work in the video game industry. So that would be cool if we had some listeners that did work in the industry and maybe want to anonymously chime in. If you want to, and if you don't want your identity revealed, that's fine. But maybe if you guys know somebody that works in the industry, could help us out. What's going on over there? Because I'm looking at the 10 companies right now. There's some big companies. You ready?
The 10 companies are Activision Productions, Inc. That's not too surprising. I've heard things about that. Blind Light LLC, Disney Character Voices Inc.
Which
Yeah,
we
that's-
talked about Disney.
that doesn't
We
surprise
talked
me
about
either.
Disney just last week, bro.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Electronics Arts Productions, Epic Games,
Epic Games. I've heard some things about Epic Games.
Formosa Interactive, Insomniac,
Insomniac does surprise
which
me.
I played a lot of Insomniac games. Take Two Productions, VoiceWork Productions, and
WB Games Inc.
WB.
What? Warner Brothers?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought things were going well, but apparently not.
This is mind blowing to me.
So we'll see. You know, we don't know if there's going to be a strike yet or not. They're still voting on it. It should be coming in, today? This will come out Saturday. We'll probably know by next week. Maybe we should do a follow-up piece on this. So I'm going to save it.
Yeah.
And
I'd definitely like to know more.
I'm sure a lot of our kid gamers and family gamers and just overall gamers out there would like to see where this goes, because this would affect the gaming industry big time. What do you think, Jess?
Audrey Cooling, a spokesperson for the video game company, said, "We all want a fair contract that reflects the important contributions of SAG-AFTRA represented performers in an industry that delivers world-class entertainment to billions of players around the world. We are negotiating in good faith and hope to reach a mutually beneficial deal as soon as possible."
Which I get that, but these are fluff statements.
I'm
all
assuming that the contracts, they either have hidden agendas or they're not fair.
What's
period.
going on? Yeah, like, okay, these are all fluff statements. Nobody's really getting down to the issue here, and what do they think is quote unquote fair. I'm very interested to see where this goes.
We need to find people like the actors that are involved with this.
Yeah.
And see if they have any statements.
I would love to talk to some people who worked in the video game industry, and if you could give me a lowdown on what's going on, that would be insane. And we don't have to reveal your identity or anything. But man, what is going on over there, man? Like, because we talked about this a couple weeks ago about people, you know, and we talked about Disney too. We talked about people are getting burnt out because they're either firing too much all at once and they're making their actors and people work overtime, or it's just not enough spacing between releases. There's a lot. So I'm very interested to see where this goes. All right, let's dive into something else. We are going to follow up with this piece, though. We'd like to keep you posted. And also, like we said, if you know somebody that works in the industry and you want to give us the lowdown what's going on, that would be fantastic. Let's dive into what's next, man.
I'm letting you take the lead on this because I know little to nothing about football. I'm just going to chime in if I feel like it, joke about something.
So, okay.
You give me some ammo, I'll use it.
You're not a football fan, right? Do you watch football at all?
Nope, sure don't. I used to play it as a kid, but that was it.
Okay, because you have two categories of people. You have people that watch football and also people that like to play or be at the games more than they like watching it. And then you got people that like both. So for me, growing up, watching football with friends and family was just a really cool thing that we did. And we were not like, there are the diehard stats people, you know, the people that know.
The people you know.
The people that know every stat known to man about a certain team.
Yeah.
But no, most of us were just watching football just to spend time with each other and have fun. And it was competition. And we really get into it because a lot of us are competitive. And so it's a great time. This week during fall season is going to be week number 5. So we have a lot of good matchups this week. I just want to go over a few of them. The major one, it should be, am I right on this? It's this weekend? Yeah, the major one is Georgia and Auburn. Georgia ranked number 1. Auburn is going to be going up against them. We'll see how that goes. We got USC and Colorado. Colorado coming off a huge loss last week. See if they can redeem themselves this week. We got Michigan and Nebraska. And we got, you know, being around Ohioans and other people, we do not talk about Michigan. But Michigan and Nebraska is coming up. Should be a crazy game. Oregon and Stanford. South Carolina and Tennessee, Alabama and, I don't want to say this wrong, Missouri State. MS State. Hold on. Let me look this up. I want to make sure I say it wrong. Y'all go roast me. Mississippi State. There we go.
Roast them.
I don't watch Mississippi State. All right. Let's be honest. I don't watch Mississippi State. LSU and Mississippi. Iowa State and Oklahoma. Notre Dame and Duke. Washington and Arizona. Penn State, Northwestern. So far, Jess, Penn State has been on fire. They're ridiculous.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. Like Ricky Bobby running across the track.
Yeah, like they're ridiculous. So we'll see what they do. Kansas and Texas should be a good one. And of course, Utah's been winning as well. So Utah is kind of like that underdog we didn't see coming. Let's see what their record is. Their record is 4-0 this year. They came out of nowhere, started winning every game. If they beat some more heavy hitters, it should be interesting because you got Penn State, who's really good, and Utah is really good. And, of course, then you got all the regular heavy hitters.
That was the best time about football when I was playing it. I love tackling people.
Being from Ohio, we just had a ridiculous – OSU had a ridiculous win last week that got so close to the wire. We won in the last 2 seconds of the game.
So they could have reached out and touched the wire.
Yeah, pretty much. It's ridiculous. Now, Ohio State has a bye week, so they are going to be back in the game next week. But this week should be good, man. A lot of good matchups. We'll see what happens. A lot of teams to keep your eye on. My favorite are underdogs. So when underdogs come out of nowhere and they start beating all the good teams, like I'd love to see Utah beat some good teams and go crazy. I'd love to see Penn State beat some good teams and go crazy. Because the only reason why I watch college football besides, the Ohio teams is because of the underdogs. Like seeing somebody that you would not expect come out of nowhere.
That is nice to see.
Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of people love the whole Colorado story because Deion Sanders is coaching over there and they already have beaten their record last year. Their record last year was 1-11. So this year they've already won a couple games. So they're already winning. So they've lost once. They've won 2 games. I think that's their record. Let me look. 3-1. They've won 3 games.
What's the 11 stand for?
3 games. 3-1. Huh?
What's the 11 stand for?
Last year it was the losses.
Oh, 11 losses.
Yeah, one win, 11 losses. And this year they are 3-1. So they've already won 3 games and lost once. But big whoop, man. They're already doing better than last year. So
they got 3 1-up mushrooms this time.
Yep. Okay. That's exactly. They got the lives. So they should play Mario a little bit longer.
They're getting better at it, not falling down those holes.
Everybody's going to do. Now, on the topic of sports, are there other sports that you like to watch at all? Or are you just not watching sports at all when you watch TV?
Bruh.
What do you watch?
Not sports.
Not sports?
That's for sure.
What do you watch?
Anime, other live action things.
Live action? Okay, cool. So, I
bounce around.
That's like regular TV shows.
Yeah.
So
I also tend to put on things I've seen already before because I'm texting or playing a game or whatever.
I feel that.
I just need some noise,
Just some noise in the background.
Just need some background noise.
I do that. So like my favorite is when I have to work on a certain day and I work from home. You know this. But I like to put on a game or sports or something in the background just to make me feel a little bit more at home when I'm working. Now, we did talk about this. Some days I don't like any noise like you do. Some days there are days I want quiet.
There's plenty of times where I just I don't need no noise, no music, nothing. I'm just like, peace.
Bruh. Nothing. Just
Peace
nothing.
Just
leave me alone. Leave me in my house. Let me play Mario. I mean, work.
If I can hear myself breathing, it's a good day.
Oh, man. Okay, we still have a ton more to talk about, so we're going to get right into it. I've got so much, and I think we'll do some of these next show, Jesse. We'll do some of these topics next show because we're not going to get all of them today, but I would like to dive into one of our favorite topics.
My favorite topic.
Your favorite topic. Let's dive into the superhero world, see what's going on over there. We're going to try not to spoil anything. The main thing we could talk about in this, we could talk about the older stuff. I think most of everybody's seen the older stuff. If you haven't seen the older stuff, you're sorry. You're out of luck. You're like 10 years too late.
We're on Marvel this time, not DC.
It is so much. There's so much going on. Like with, I don't know, same thing.
The
like,
multiverse is cracked wide open now.
it's like Marvelverse took like the whole Star Wars thing and was like, hey, we could do even more.
Oh, I think that they're doing better than Star Wars, personally.
Well, they're both owned by the same company. So like what we were talking about, I think they're burning people out because
Well, I
they're
already
releasing
know
too
that
much.
Liam Hemsworth is, or Chris, sorry, not Liam. Chris Hemsworth has already talked about quitting, even though they still want him to be Thor.
Yeah. He's talked about it. There's been some other things going on.
Liam might have been in some other movies.
The kid who plays Spider-Man, there's been
Tom
talk.
Holland.
Yeah, there's been talk about him changing roles.
Well, I read that he wanted to take a sabbatical from it.
I mean,
After-
I don't blame him, bro.
After that one movie or TV show did with the gay scene.
I mean, how many movies did they crank out for Spider-Man? Like, there's so
Well,
many.
Tom Holland only had, I mean, aside from the Avengers stuff he was in, he only had, what, 4?
But he did the Spider-Man movies, then we had the Avengers stuff. He did
That's what
all
I'm
that
saying.
back to back to back to back.
Yeah,
So no wonder he's burnt out, bro.
I know, but I mean, he loved it.
So just to go over a little bit of this, if you haven't seen the movies, now they have on Rotten Tomatoes. This is Rotten Tomatoes. Usually they're pretty good. A lot of these sites, some of them not always accurate, but usually Rotten Tomatoes is pretty good. They have the what you should watch in order. This isn't necessarily how they came out. They have they have chronological order. So we began.
Most people have already seen phases 1 through 3, I'm sure.
Yes. So, it began 2008 with Iron Man. You had the Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, which I remember watching all those. I thought they were great. The first adventure.
I actually thought Captain America was the first until they started coming out with timeline order and chronological order.
Some weird reason, even though I own all the Iron Man series, for some reason I thought Captain America was one of the first movies. But I was like, wait a second.
Well,
That's not right, because we did have Iron
It was
Man.
phase 1, obviously, but actually before Captain America, I thought the Incredible Hulk was right before Iron Man. Because I remember seeing that post-credit scene in The Incredible Hulk where Tony walks into that bar or whatever.
That's
And
crazy.
I'm like, wait a minute.
It's just
And I'm pretty sure I saw Incredible Hulk before Iron Man, so I had always assumed that the Incredible Hulk was the very first.
well, that could be just because they
Or the
were
MCU.
so close together. And
Yeah, that was
that's
crazy.
That's where I'm confused.
They were only
These are all phase 1 movies.
May to June. It says May 2nd and June 13th. That is
Yep.
very, very close.
They were
together.
back to back pretty much. And then you had 2010, you had Iron Man 2, which
Well, that's 2 years later.
I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2. I
all the
wasn't
Iron Mans were great. Robert Downey Jr.
The third one was
did
okay.
that with aplomb.
Third one was okay. I liked 1 and 2 the best, I think. The third one was
Really?
okay, but that's just my opinion.
I can't really pick out of those. I mean, he was great, period.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
I think we definitely always need more Iron Man movies. I thought they were hilarious.
Well,
and his
there's
character
Iron Heart now.
development. Yeah.
Riri.
Yeah.
Riri
Then we're
is the
getting
new
different.
Iron Man, Iron Woman, I guess.
We're getting new Captain America stuff. The original Captain America, the first Avenger, is my favorite of all.
That's your favorite of all of them?
Out of the Captain America series.
Oh, out of the Captain America.
Yeah, because
Captain America. My favorite Captain America was Civil War.
I love the origin story. Like, I just love the origin story. How they met, how everything went down. I'm always about that. Shut up. Shut up, man. There are a lot of good ones, okay? I will give you that.
As Tony said, everything special about you came from a bottle. I mean, come on.
Okay, let's talk about Phase 2. Let's see what's your favorite out of Phase 2. We had Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers: Age of Ultron, which was a nasty movie. That movie was crazy.
Dude, they gave Ultron the short end of the stick. You
They did, but
in the comics, he got all the Infinity Stones and got even crazy. Like,
in the comics,
completely out of control.
Okay, well, see, they should have put that in there. Ant-Man.
No, I think they just wanted to. I don't know why they watered it down, but I think they were like, well, if we do that with Ultron, I think that's a little too much for them.
So 3 of my favorite movies of all time happened in Phase 2. Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Age of Ultron. Those are 3 of some of my all-time favorites of the entire Marvel series.
Really?
Yes. Guardians was my jam. Guardians is
the original Guardians was great.
Yeah. Like Guardians, like if you could take me back to the original Guardians the day that I saw it in theaters, bro, I was so hype.
I wasn't that crazy about Chris Pratt, honestly, but
I thought he was hilarious, but
I mean, he was funny at
my
times.
boy was Rocket, man. Like
Rocket. If I have to choose out of the characters in Guardians, Rocket and Groot are 100%.
Yeah, dude. Like dude, I love that series because
Rocket.
of that.
I did not realize that Rocket was voiced by Bradley Cooper. That does not sound like him at all.
Now, what I did like,
That blew my mind.
what I did like about Chris Pratt was the whole play on when his mom gave him the tape, and he's listening to like the old school stuff.
Don't have me snoring again, buddy.
Bro, I'm telling you, it's
I'm
good.
sorry.
You gotta appreciate the plot,
I
man.
appreciate-
You gotta appreciate the plot. If you're not here for the story, what are you here for?
I'm here for. I mean, I'm gonna give you my opinion no matter what. So, your choices disappoint me,
Well,
honestly. But
good.
I'm
Good.
still.
I'm here for your disappointment. All right.
I'm shaking my head. Just so you don't know. Really?
Okay, so out of that set, what was your favorite then?
I don't have just one favorite.
No, out of Phase 2.
Phase 2.
Yeah, out of Phase 2.
My favorites in Phase 2.
We had Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3,
Dark
Guardians
War.
of the Galaxy,
Okay.
Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man.
Okay, fair enough. Those are good picks. I can't knock it. Those are good picks. And I think if you go back to when we actually saw those in theaters, there was a lot of good reviews on those. And we also talked about this. When we had anticipation, look at this.
Anticipation definitely made them worse.
So we went from 2008 and 2012. It was not for another year until we had Iron Man 3, and then another 2 years till we had the next Avengers movie. So there was anticipation between the first Avengers movie and the next Avengers movie. That's what made it so good. You and I were just talking about going to the theater with our friends, waiting for that movie to come out is what made it good. It was the same thing that we talked about in Star Wars, where it was like when we waited for a movie and we were like all
anticipation made it
we had our theories. Everybody was like guessing.
They had time to simmer.
Oh my gosh, yes. And you would like talk with your family and your friends about it, and then you'd all be like, what's gonna happen, and then you go to the theater and
I had so many fantasies about like the ends of movies.
yeah, like it's crazy. Like we all had our theories and whatnot. And even better, when you went on a movie night back then, the theaters were crowded because everybody had so much anticipation. When you went during the premiere show, it was usually sold out.
Yeah.
So everybody had the same emotions. If we all laughed, we all laughed. If we all cried, we all cried. If we all got shocked, we were all like
Yeah, there was. You could definitely tell that in the movie theaters too.
I'm serious. It was great. It was great. All right, so let's talk about Phase 3. We're getting caught up here.
Phase 3 had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 movies in Phase 3.
Now, see, this is where it gets crazy. Look how many movies were in Phase 1 and 2. And then in a span of 17, 18, 3 years.
From Phase 2 to Phase 3.
In just 3 years, we got twice as many movies. This is where it starts to get nuts, and where we talked about that anticipation started to go out the window a little bit. We had Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardian of the Galaxy 2, Spider-Man, Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home. I felt like I slept at the theater. I felt like I lived there because in those 3 years, we had so many movies. Not to mention all the movies that came out that were not superhero movies.
Yeah, and dude, at that point, I was I was catching up and living the Marvel movies, and then everything else, it disappeared. All the other movies, I'm like, well, what?
I know there were so many.
I could not even.
In those 3 years, there were so many good movies, and I think a lot of movies got overshadowed because there were so many superhero movies.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so out of those, obviously, I love Guardians of the Galaxy. That'll always be my go-to.
I think Phase 3.
Here's where
hit its stride. Dude.
Yeah, here's where I hit the change up, and this is where we see the peak of Marvel because
I think it's the peak too.
When
100%.
I went to the. And yeah, I think you feel the same way. When I went to the theater back when Infinity War and everything premiered, back when we had Ragnarok, Black Panther, and Infinity War, it was like I said, it was the peak. People were invested. When I went to the Infinity War, it was not even the premiere. It was the second or third week. It was still packed, sold out.
I will watch that over and over again, dude.
It was sold
Infinity
out.
War was awesome.
There was so much emotional drama in Infinity War. People were just hooked. And
I was definitely hooked by it.
This was what's cool too. The Thor movies the Thor movies had good humor. I like the comedy in the Thor movies. I don't know about you.
They took Thor from a serious character to a comedy character.
Yes, but I did enjoy the comedy.
No, I mean, he got better.
Yeah.
Fans liked him more once he became funny.
He seemed, and I don't know how to say this nicely, but he seemed less douchey when he started to be comedic. And
because in the original Thor, he was all, I'm Thor, the God of Thunder. I will smite you. It was so boring.
It was very stoic. Yeah, it was very robotic. And,
really, dude?
It's obey me or die. Or
that's exactly what it was. I will smash you with my hammer.
Yeah.
He was monotonous. He wasn't a character.
And we really, the second and third movie, we really got to see a different side of him, which was pretty cool.
I mean, people hated the Dark World, though. Thor Dark World.
True.
It was too great.
But if you mention the name Ragnarok, everybody loved Ragnarok.
On the other hand, picked it up.
Yeah. And then we got something different, which I absolutely love because I love this character. And I get so much flack. But
I get flack for Doctor Strange.
But
you get me flack for Doctor Strange. Really? Come on.
I absolutely love Black Panther.
I love Black Panther.
We had such a great difference. There was
I nearly
a change up in characters.
Boseman died.
Yeah. There was a change up in characters. We had a change up in plot lines. It wasn't the same superhero plot line.
No.
It was completely different. The feel was different. I completely loved
with
it.
The technology.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that super futuristic city. Come on. That brings me back to Atlantis days. When we used to dream and fantasize as kids about Atlantis and what Atlantis was like. I was like, dude, this is awesome. And then not only that, the invisible city.
The barrier.
The barrier. Oh my god.
Yes, that was great.
I'm like, this is Star Wars straight up. It was so good. It was so good.
I'm not as invested in Star Wars, so I can't really.
And I get that. I mean, I feel like a lot of people that watch.
I got so behind on that, and then they started bringing out so many of those too, and I just got left behind.
Here's the thing: the fan base for Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Marvel, DC. You're either going to watch multiple ones, or you're going to be just a fan base of that series.
Either you're going to be invested or not.
Yeah, invested in that series. So I totally get that. I get it. I've watched both. I love both. I love Star Wars and I love Marvel. it was just so cool to see that. I love the Black Panther and the tech, bro. The technology they brought in was nasty.
I did not expect that at all.
Oh
Except
my
for
gosh.
the Panther suit. I did not expect.
And
all
the
that
warrior
technology.
women,
Oh my goodness.
they were insane, bro. Like they were so good. And
made me want to move to Wakanda.
oh, it was awesome. They had a whole structure, they had a whole system, the different like everything was amazing in that movie.
I trade in my regular clothes for the
tech.
for the traditional attire.
Yes, I love the
Wakanda.
traditional attire. It was
I'll
amazing.
paint my face like, dude, I am down.
with the warrior
down,
paint.
Yeah,
with the
I am
warrior
down
paint,
with everything, dude.
the stripes and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. It was awesome. And then they had like what was the bead? I don't know if it was the skin
Kimoya
bump
beads?
tattoos or did you see that? They had like skin.
Are you talking about
Maybe it was
Killmonger?
maybe it was the Killmonger.
Killmonger
that
had
it.
those bumps on his
Yeah,
skin.
what were I don't even know what those
were he like branded himself. He scarred
Did he?
himself.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I thought it was kind of like
That was only him, dude.
yeah, I get it. But I mean like what they had the tattoos though. They did have the
tattoo
tattoos.
in their lip.
Yes, that too.
That was like the vibranium.
Mhm. Okay, yeah. Now I remember. See, I forgot what I thought there was some sort of thing he did with that, but I don't know. I thought it was cool.
Well, that was their way to prove that they were Wakandan.
Gotcha. Yeah, that movie was phenomenal. Love it. And then of course we got the triple threat, the Infinity War. Now, I remember when Infinity War happened, the world was in shock.
So many people see Thanos as a villain. I don't. I mean, I see where they're coming from, but I don't see him as entirely a villain.
Well, he's a character, right? He's like he was, to me, he had the wrong beliefs, but when you're depicting, here's my thing. Same thing happened with Star Wars. When you're depicting stuff that's off this planet, that's not our moral system, that's not our value system,
You can't.
people get confused and they get outraged because it's not their belief
It's not
structure.
their mindset. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's like, but you got to understand, if there was aliens or another race in real life, they would not have our belief structure.
No, definitely.
They
not.
would not have our morals.
We are odd to them too.
Yes.
I'm sure.
So, like, for us to be offended at Thanos,
It's unnecessary, like completely ridiculous.
it's kind of weird. Yes, we shouldn't kill anybody. I agree. But like, it's kind of weird in the same fact that,
well, I mean,
he was from a different universe. Like,
yeah,
he did not, and he obviously believed the wrong things and believed certain things, but that was his belief structure. He wasn't a human. Like, he didn't come from this planet. So to him, we were nothing.
Well, they twisted his purpose big time.
And you get that. And another point I want to make, just so everybody knows where I'm coming from, you get that with every villain. A lot of villains were not from this planet. They did not have the Earth belief structure. They did not have the Avengers belief structure, because the villains were seeing things a different way.
Well, Thanos was an anomaly. That's what I call him.
So, I just, it's crazy. Like, that whole arc was nuts. Now, when they finally came back, was amazing. And yeah, I love seeing a bad guy get his due, but I also love seeing the whole plot, and that was a beautiful plot. Everybody was in shock.
I thought it was genius.
It was. Everybody was in shock. Everybody was like,
I was
talking about it.
I was disappointed that Lady Death did not make somewhat of an appearance, or at least be mentioned.
I told my parents that wasn't the end. Everybody thought that was the end. And I was like, no, that's not the end. I was like, just keep going. That's like there's, if you are familiar with comics in any respect, that the main characters don't die right away. Like,
I read about the comic counterparts as much as possible. So yeah. I know both sides. Not everything, obviously, because there's a lot. But I tend to read and find out the differences. And when I compare the comics to the MCU, I realize I have to cut out a lot of things and do things differently to be on screen or whatever. But it's hard knowing the knowledge of the comics and then watching the MCU movies.
Yeah, and people got to
It's
realize
like-
it is just a story. It is just a plot. It's all fiction. All right, don't take it so seriously. It's
Can't
it's
help
just
it.
the
I know.
enjoyment of the characters. Like all of us enjoy the characters. No, we don't want the characters to die or have trouble or whatever, but that's the entire story. That's the reason why Marvel Comics and DC Comics exist, was the struggles and everything that their characters go through, and they actually show you in real time like the realistic side of
Yeah.
what happened. Like, so it's not all going to be sunshine and
They-
rainbows.
No, it can't be all good all the time. There's no way.
No. And that's what, in my opinion, that's what makes a great movie. When you have a character
struggles.
that has struggles, that has problems, that has these issues, and then you finally get to see them win in the end, or at least survive in the end. That's what makes a great movie. Okay, let's head to phase 4. We are running out of time here. Phase 4. What we got?
Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
And this is where you see the start of I mean, the last phase was the start, but you really start to see the decline. We don't have nearly as many movies this one, but
It declined in waves, I
the
think.
2021 era was when they started doing crazy TV shows and add-ons and side stories. These are just the movies. So that goes back to what we were talking about, doing too much at once. I think they started doing too much at once.
I don't know, Phase 4, I mean, there's less in Phase 4 than there was in Phase 3.
Yeah, but remember, these are just the movies, right? These are all just
yeah,
the movies.
those are the movies, yeah.
Yeah, but
I
add
don't see
in
the TV shows listed.
add in the TV shows, man. Like that's it's a lot from 2021 to today. There was just so much, and this is where we talk about the actors getting burnt out, the people getting burnt out, people wanting more anticipation between movies.
I'm 100% going to miss Scarlett Johansson.
It's crazy. Yeah. Wow.
I'm sure
Right.
just about 90% of people will too.
Yeah. So we had those.
Let's go, Joe.
Well, first, what was your phase 3 favorite?
Wait a minute. There's not just one in Phase 3 either.
I'm gonna have to go.
Doctor Strange,
I loved Endgame.
Black Panther, Infinity War were my 3 favorites. in
Okay,
Phase
I'm
3.
gonna have to go with Ragnarok, Panther, Endgame. That's my 3.
I didn't think Endgame was as good as Infinity War. Honestly, I thought it lost steam. Honestly,
I get that perspective, but I loved it. And when I saw it, people were so hype in the theater, like it was ridiculous. So it could have been just the atmosphere that I saw it in, okay, but it was a good memory for me. Phase 4. What's your favorite out of those? Phase 4. I know what mine is. I remember this section of movies.
I named Black Panther and the other one, but the sequel I was not that thrilled about. I mean, I wanted to see it, but I didn't love it as much as the original.
Okay.
But my favorites were Eternals, believe it or not, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and I'm torn between listing Black Widow on either the favorite or the
Okay. Well, my favorite is Black Widow.
I love ScarJo. So
My favorite's Black Widow.
Black Widow.
I mean, there was so many
I'd
good.
put it on there simply because I love.
And it was
ScarJo.
Black Widow and who's the guy that plays the
Red
other
Guardian.
assassin?
Florence Pugh played her sister, the blonde.
Right, but
Widow.
the guy who
The guy David
shoots
Harbour
arrows.
played. Wait, no, shoots arrows.
Yeah,
Hawkeye wasn't in that.
yeah, wasn't he?
No, Hawkeye wasn't in Black Widow.
Dude, if I pull this up, you're gonna get roasted.
No, I will not be roasted. I can say that
I
with
thought he was.
utmost confidence.
I thought he was.
No,
on.
Black Widow was Natasha's family.
Oh, maybe it's
Before,
because I saw the TV
it's-
show.
It was
Oh.
bouncing between present day and
You know what it was?
and
You
the
know what it was?
flashbacks.
I watched the Black Widow, and they did have the flashbacks in there, and I watched the TV show after Black Widow.
Clint was not in Black Widow at all.
So
She talked about
that's
him.
what happened.
That was the only
That's what
mention.
happened. Okay.
They-
That's what happened. No,
they
you're right.
talked
You're
about
right.
him,
You're right. You're right. You're
but
right.
he wasn't physically in it.
I watched the TV show right after that, so the stories crossed over. Like, especially if you watch the end scenes of both the
He's
TV
getting
show and the
confused,
movie.
folks.
No, they crossed over. Watch them. I guarantee it. But yes, you are right that he wasn't in the movie though, because I was getting that confused with the actual TV show. All right, I lost my thing here. All right, number 5.
We're not there yet. Phase 5 is what? Or what? No.
No,
Okay,
we
hold
are
on.
there.
Oh no, we're halfway in.
2023
No,
to 2024.
Ant-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and yeah, there's only two
I
in
did
that
see.
list
I
that
did
are
see
out.
Quantumania.
There's only two in that list that are out right now.
Yeah, and the Marvels are coming out.
Marvels is soon.
I am interested in seeing the Marvels. I will say that.
The other ones are. I'm thinking they're a couple years ahead still.
Can you believe they're bringing Blade back?
Dude, I am stoked about that. I, for one, am stoked about that. If anybody will replace Wesley Snipes, Mahershala Ali, I was floored by his performance in Luke Cage.
So you're 100% for it then.
I am 100% for the new Blade.
All right, fair enough. I did enjoy Quantumania.
He played Cottonmouth so well in Luke Cage.
I do think Quantumania can get a little confusing if you don't know what's going on.
It was pretty confusing. I did see that. And Kang.
Oh my gosh,
Kang was
Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think that's when they really worked on the plot, because that was a heart wrencher.
What is it?
Guardians of the Galaxy 3, where we saw Rocket's story.
Super weird compared to the other two.
It was crazy, man.
It was
that one was
way
nuts.
too
It did
dark.
get talked about a lot, but
that was far too dark for me.
now remember we talked about the dark being sometimes really good for a movie plot. I thought there was a lot of story in that one.
It was nice to see Rocket's background.
It is, but it's also
It
gut wrenching.
That was very
definitely
hard
not for
watch.
kids.
Yeah,
definitely not for kids. It was hard to watch.
it was very hard to watch. With
But it was
cruelty.
good. I thought it was really good. The reason why here's what I judge a movie based off of, and this is just my opinion. Everybody's got a different thing, but I judge a movie based off of the emotions you feel in it. And there were so many emotions that I felt in that movie.
I cried.
It was
I'm pretty
insane.
sure I cried at least once during Guardians 3.
Gosh, man, it was insane. And then finally, we have a couple announcements. So the Marvels is coming out November 11th. We have Captain America: New World Order. That'll be interesting.
I'm assuming that's
what the new guy.
Anthony Mackie playing the new Captain America.
Yep. That should be good.
I mean, he is.
It's
Captain
gonna. I
America.
don't know where the plot is going though. They kind of made the commercials confusing, so we'll see what happens with that. Thunderbolts.
Are you familiar with Thunderbolts?
I am not.
Thunderbolts was kind of like a team up of bad guys.
Interesting. That should be interesting. I am looking forward to Blade like you are.
Dude.
I want to see how he does.
I cannot wait
Because I remember the original Blades, and dude, I would like to see how the new guy does.
Did you see the Eternals or Eternals? Sorry.
No, I did not.
You didn't see Eternals?
There's just so much, bro.
Blade's
Like,
voice was at the end, dude.
oh, was it?
Not even kidding. Spoiler alert, folks.
Yeah.
Sorry if you hadn't seen it,
Yeah.
but
Well, Eternals got like mixed reviews for sure. They were up and
nobody wants to acknowledge Tiamat's body just poking out the earth for some reason.
I don't know.
I mean,
man.
there have been little blurbs about it, but that's it.
I
It's
don't
kind of
know.
weird.
And then Phase 6.
Deadpool
And this
3.
this is all we know about so far. We have
We already
Deadpool 3.
know.
Deadpool 3. They are, for the 100th time, redoing Fantastic Four.
Third time.
Whatever.
No, wait, fourth.
It feels like 100.
I didn't
I
even
don't
see
know.
that other reboot. Did you?
I saw the earlier
like 2016?
Fantastic Fours. I was like, all right,
I
whatever.
saw the originals.
I like the original. The original was good, but they didn't do anything with it.
Silver Surfer, bruh.
Bruh. Silver Surfer is nasty. I
You
wish they would bring.
realize they foreshadowed, right?
Yeah, I do realize that, but they should have just brought Silver Surfer back. He was nasty.
They were already talking about it on
Are
there.
they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was watching that video article on Snapchat, and they're talking about Silver Surfer making a return.
I would love that. He's beast.
or hoping at least.
What a crazy character. That character is nuts. We were talking about,
especially because
we were
of
talking about
Galactus.
alien concepts and how they don't have our morals and concepts. That dude was the epitome of that.
Yeah.
Like literally he came in just not caring. Like,
Well, I mean,
he
dude,
did not care. We were completely foreign to him. He did not care. We were like little ants on the anthill.
Well, it could have turned out that way easily.
Which, if there are other alien races out there in the universe, that could be very easily the truth.
Galactus is looming. Dude.
Avengers, Galactus.
He's looming. It's just a
Stargate.
matter of time.
The Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. And
That's about, all those Kangs.
I don't know about the Kangs.
Oh, man.
I'm so like behind on comics. And then Secret Wars.
No, this ain't just comics.
What is Secret Wars?
Loki delved into Kang also.
Oh wait, that's true. I did see Loki. Now Loki was a good show.
He Who Remains was his version in Loki.
Loki was a good show. But like we said, most of this stuff is going back to people being burnt out. And they have a ranking of the movies.
Deadpool 3, that is the most anticipated, I think.
One that I wish they would do more of that I think they're kind of done with now because, you had the old Captain America series and all that. I wish we had more of Agent Carter. Agent Carter was a great series. I absolutely loved it. And it just felt like we didn't have enough.
I'm trying to keep it together over here.
Shield is like...
Shield
got
done.
nuts. Yeah, Shield got nuts. That was insane. But yeah, that's it. That's all we got for movie news this week.
You forgot to mention one, actually.
Which one?
In Phase 6, I'm pretty sure you forgot to say Avengers Secret Wars after.
I did.
Oh, you
I
did?
said that,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I said I had no idea what it's about.
That's supposed to be like... Well,
Let's see.
from what I read, at least, it's going to be a heck of an ensemble. It's gonna be like Endgame to Infinity War.
They have
From what I
Jonathan
understand.
Majors cast as Kang.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
You didn't know that?
No, I'm just saying that's who's going to be Kang in Secret Wars. And
Well, he's been Kang since Loki, and
did we saw him in Loki?
that's where he first appeared as Kang.
That was such a weird twist, bro. That was insane. If you haven't seen Loki, go see Loki. Loki was nuts.
Yes.
Everybody,
if you have not seen Loki,
that was
watch Loki.
It was insane.
ASAP.
Yeah, that series. That's one mind bender of a TV series.
The one I have slacked on is WandaVision
Now,
because it's so weird.
WandaVision is good, but it does get dark, and it gets dark toward the end.
It's pretty pivotal, though.
But
it is important.
It is part of the story.
As MCU.
You know how I feel about dark stuff. I'm not really into all that, but the story, especially in the beginning, like the concepts for the first 5 or 6 episodes of WandaVision was insane.
Yeah, I started it,
Phenomenal.
and I really need to get back to it because I keep seeing news reflecting back on it. I'm like, crap, I still ain't seen it yet. I need to watch it.
Well,
all.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the first 5 or 6 episodes,
I'm pretty sure I got
was
like 4 or 5.
phenomenal. It was insane. It was like watching a news story every episode.
Elizabeth Olsen, man, she is gorgeous.
Did her job. Did her
She-
job. She's insane.
She's
All right,
insane.
guys, that's all we got this week. That's all we have time for. We're gonna get into some more stuff next show. So by the time this comes out, this will be Saturday that comes out. We will have another show for you on Tuesday. Enjoy, and
Most likely.
from Matt and Jesse and WWV, stay weird, everybody.
So yeah.